Greetings, fellow TIs. Gangstalking is truly about neutralizing a person. Demoralization warfare is an aspect of this program because if you're systematically being harassed and tested, then that is demoralizing. You do this type of stuff to any cop or average Joe, they're going to react. So the enemy is utilizing psychological warfare, NLP, also known as neurolinguistic programming, and other tactics to neutralize a person, to destroy their life. There are some people which are stating this is tied to insurance fraud, unacknowledged special access programs, etc. I have my assumptions. But from what I've gathered, this program overall is a depopulation program based on targeting and neutralizing so-called threats, which in many cases, the people doing this targeting know without a shadow of a doubt they are targeting people which are not dangerous in most cases. I've been a TI since 1996, and I don't associate with terrorists, bad people. I associate with a lot of good people which are just trying to live their lives. Many are mothers with kids. Some of them are teachers. Some of them have worked in government jobs. They're whistleblowers. They're just regular people that just want to enjoy life. They're not looking for a problem. Some of my friends have actually left the country to be targeted overseas, and some of them are managing. Their targeting has decreased, and some of them are not being targeted. Information warfare is a huge component of psychological operations because if the stakeholders do not believe the information they're receiving, they're unlikely to go along with that activity. So these people utilize people in positions of trust and stakeholders which would likely go along because they're used to taking orders. One of the most dangerous types of perps or groups that you can deal with are people which have this mentality that the government will not lie or betray them like they did SEAL Team 6. That's my opinion. Do some research on what some people are saying. One TI that I've spoke to, he was on a very popular radio TV show, and it was aired nationwide, and he was targeted because he believes his son was sent deliberately to die overseas on some type of classified mission. They sent him on an airplane. They put him on a helicopter, and they knew that he would die when they had all these fancy helicopters. It's like his son told his dad pretty much he wasn't coming back. And there are many similar stories where people have been pretty much destroyed by the system. I mean, let me give you an example. The CIA in the early 1980s used a utility truck, and they were spraying toxins out of the back of it. There was a pipe nearby the muffler of this vehicle, and they went in heavy traffic on a windy day, knowing the particles would go through people's car vents. They would have someone behind getting tag numbers, so that way they can review their medical records to see if they die, what happened to them. That's the power the CIA has. So the enemy of life, liberty, and freedom has been operating secretly through 8A businesses, etc. But to go back to the spraying the CIA did, they deliberately killed like 13 Americans. They state 13 Americans, but I believe it was a lot more because the government always lies. Like a while back, DOJ said there was like this number, it was really low on stalking, like how many cases were reported. Then later it was discovered there was over 500,000 cases where people complained about being stalked by 2 to 3 people at a time. Gang stalking. And at that time, DHS had stated they wanted something like 500,000 people to do surveillance in communities. What's the coincidence, right? Why isn't DOJ investigating? And why are some of these people are in news articles? So there's something going on when we have people asking for help, but then later on when I research, some of these people are in newspaper clippings and in stories where they've done stupid stuff after years afterwards, after they asked for help. Why would the government do this? Why is Congress silent? Well, I can tell you why. The government is corrupt. Now, I'm pro-government. I believe we need cops, good cops, to protect us from rapists, people which are planning on harming people, people which plan on committing crimes or which are going to commit crimes. But people which made a mistake, changed their life, or that are doing right, or people which have not been in trouble and aren't doing anything bad, no one should be violating their rights. So the enemy wants constitutional rights for themselves. They'll wave American flags in their front porch of their homes, and then they'll harass people for money. So we're not dealing with good people. We're dealing with people which will plot terrorism and conduct the necessary activities to push people over the edge. Anyway, say no to violence, say no to terrorism. God bless, and stay strong.
I am here in support of all the innocent people they are detaining at the Capitol and all the innocent people they are targeting all over our country and the world. Adam Schiff is a political criminal, and he has to be held accountable for all these lives that they are destroying. They are destroying our country. They are weaponizing and federalizing everything against the American people, and they are using our intelligence apparatus and our homeland security apparatus to do it. We, the people, have to stand up against this. This is beyond party lines, and this impacts everybody in the country. After 9/11, they incorporated the fusion centers and the DHS enterprise with 22 federal agencies and ran our entire country's infrastructure through it. They have federalized and weaponized everything against the American people. We have to stand up to this before we are next. I am one of those people they have targeted, and there's millions of others on the no-fly list who are also targeted by our corrupt federal criminal intelligence agencies. We, as the people, have to learn to stand up to these people and not be afraid before they come after all of us. They are turning parents into domestic terrorists. Children are being targeted. Your families are being targeted. We have to stand up as a nation against this apparatus and fight for our freedoms before we are next. We Americans have to be free. We have to free America. We have to free the world, and this is how we have to do it. They have streamlined these capabilities throughout every country in the world and federalized it and weaponized it against America. We are under siege by this Frankenstein through globalists, through communists, and every other person that wants to destroy freedom, civil liberties, and our right to happiness. So people, we need to stand up against this, because there's millions of innocent people's lives at stake, including yours, your families, and your children.